Good morning, everybody. My name is Kobus Kriel. I'm the author of Carnivore Way, blogspot.com. I'm known on social media as Carnivore Way, and today I'll show you how to make biltong. It's actually very easy. I'll start with the behind the scenes project that's going on here. Behind me you can see a biltong box that I've built out of material that was lying around. We're currently in lockdown in South Africa, and we are not allowed to buy material for anything. So what I've got here is cardboard shade, netting, and then of course I've got material this side, some wood and some angle iron that I've used in the biltong box. And I'll explain to you now what happened here. This was actually another project that I've completed before. It is actually a shelf that I've built to store things on. And then underneath I've got a table that just happened to be under the shelf. And I got this idea that I can put the netting somehow just to create a biltong box, and I'll show you how it works. Let me explain. On the internet, on YouTube, you can find many biltong boxes that you can build that is made out of wood, and basically has electrical fan on the inside and a light, etc. First of all, I don't have enough wood lying around currently, and the second thing is I didn't want to go electric when I built the box. So I got the idea to put cardboard shade net, and it's actually very simple. Let me show you this side what's happening here. I've prepared the meat already, and you can see there is some biltong that I've made on a previous occasion. I'll show you how it looks. This biltong is basically 5 days old. Nice fatty biltong, and I'll show you how to prepare it from scratch. And also I just want to mention that if you make the biltong, and sometimes you can find there's a little bit of a build-up of white stuff on the biltong after a few days, it's not a problem, it's natural. What you do is you take a bit of vinegar on a piece of cloth and you just wipe it off. So it's very simple. This biltong is nice and soft, and I'll show you. I'll cut a piece for you in a while. Then this side is the meat that I use. I use blowhole steak. Basically, you know it as Texan steak. This steak is unfortunately marinated, but it's fine. I'll still put salt on it. And on this side, I've got my tray that I've prepared, cleaned everything nicely. I've got the biltong hooks, and basically the biltong hooks is made out of wire that you use it in a fence or on a fence, and it must be the type of wire that is quite bendable, and it must also keep its shape quite well. And then I've got some normal salt. Generally I use Himalayan pink salt, but for the biltong I use just normal salt to season the biltong with. Right, for the preparation for building your box, like I said, you need the wood and the angle iron. You of course can build the box out of completely wood, but I did not have enough wood to complete the project. And here I've got an industrial staple gun. I'll show you how I use it. And then I had a pair of scissors, and of course you need a welder just to keep everything together, unless you're going to make the whole project out of wood, which is not impossible. So what I did is I cut the shade netting to the size that I want, and then I just basically stapled the whole thing onto the wood. I'll show you here how I did it. Yeah, so the purpose of the netting is just to keep the bugs out, keep the flies out. I don't have any flies here. I've not seen a fly in this garage of mine. I must just say that if you make a biltong box of this type, it's important that you put it in a cool place. My garage is quite cool, and you can't put it in a hot environment. It will not work with this particular design. Just as a matter of interest, I'll show you on the inside how it looks. It's just a sheet blanket that I've used here. I ran out of material, but it's completely fine, and I just hook it at the bottom just to keep everything tight. But on the inside, I would like to show you how it looks and how you can actually hang the biltong. You take the wire and you just form it into the shape of an S, and then you just cut it with the pliers. And then, of course, importantly, you need to sterilize it. And I just take a cloth with some jig on it and just sterilize the metal, the wire. So let us prepare the biltong. So the first thing that we're going to do is cutting the pieces of meat. Don't worry, I've washed my hands. And pieces of meat you can put this side while you're working, and then later we'll transfer it to the tray, which is also clean. And then we are going to season them with the salt, and then we are going to put the hooks on, and then I'll show you how I hang them in the biltong box. While I'm working with the meat, one of the main things that I want to communicate is that you can do the carnivore way of eating affordable. You should not buy the first meat that you find on the shelf, and you should always look for the rand per kilo or the dollar per pound price, the small price. Because many people just buy the first meat they find on the shelf or in the shop, and it's often very expensive. And just because the price sounds good to you because it's maybe a smaller cut of meat that you're buying, it does not mean that it is actually an affordable and sustainable option. And while I'm on the topic of grass-fed versus grain-fed, I don't really care. I'm very passionate about communicating to people that the carnivore way of eating should be very affordable. And the doctors that I follow on my blog and on my YouTube channel or on YouTube communicated it also very well, that the difference between grain-fed beef and grass-fed beef is not that much. And if you look at the plant-based diet, the hormones, the plant hormones that you're actually consuming, if you are on a plant-based diet or if you have plants in your diet, is actually more detrimental to your health than the little bit of hormones that you might find in grain-fed beef. does not have a huge impact on your body, but the doctors explain it much better than I can. So I'm finished, and let me just clean my hands. And now we are going to transfer the meat into the tray, which is also clean and sanitized. And then I'm going to put the hooks on after I seasoned the meat. So like I said, I use salt, plain salt, and what I do is I just pour a bit of salt in my hand, and I just put it over the meat as I see fit, and then I just mix them together and just spread the salt out evenly over all the meat. After the first try of making biltong, you'll soon realize if you had enough salt on, or maybe you should increase the salt on the biltong itself. Of course, the salt has a preservative function so that the meat won't go off. And you also don't want to make it too salty, then it's not so palatable. But just make sure that the salt is distributed all over every piece of meat before you hang it up, because you can't really add salt afterwards. It's not a good idea. So it's difficult for me to say how much salt should you add. I basically, as you saw, put 3 or 4 handfuls of salt on the meat, and by this stage I think that it is enough. So there's the meat, and now we're going to put the hooks on, and then we're almost done. On my blog you will also find links to the doctor's websites and YouTube channels. I follow Dr. Ken Berry and Dr. Paul Saladino and Dr. Sean Baker, and they're all written books. The links are on my website or blog as well, at the bottom of the blog. And there are links to the books that I've written as well. So just to give you a close-up of what's going on, it's just pieces of red meat. We call it bluebell steak. And you might know it as Texan steak. Some people call it MacGyver steak. Dr. Sean Baker wrote a book, The Carnivore Diet, and Dr. Paul Saladino wrote a book, The Carnivore Code, and Dr. Ken D. Berry wrote the book, Lies My Doctor Told Me. And the links, of course, are on my blog. So we are ready to hang the biltong in the biltong box, and this is how it looks. And now we're going to hang it. So here on the inside you can see what I've done. I've got the angle iron and I've got the carport shade netting, and basically just sealed everything off. And then of course we've got our meat that we've prepared, and we are going to hang it. And what you do is you just basically hang it up like this, and you just space it out so they don't touch each other. And this is what the final product looks like before it dries. And it's nice and cool inside here. So guys, there you have it. The biltong is hanged, and I'll keep you posted. And with the magic of internet, I'll show you the final product. Okay, so let me just cut you a piece of biltong, and you'll see that it is nice and soft. And this is 5 days in the making. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Please share this video if you like. I post daily videos on my YouTube channel. The links are in the description below. The links to my books are in the description below as well. Thank you for your time.